All right, Coach. Well, first two conference games. I just looked up some stats. When we look at last year, got it done both times, but two of those games kind of to the wire overtime. So, your thoughts on, I guess, Wayne State to start?
Yeah, I think these two teams are, really, really tough. I think when you get back in league play, you have so much shared history, and there's a lot of players back on both teams. So it's hard not to go back to previous games and kind of know what to expect. And so they'll know a lot of the stuff that we like to do and our players like to do, and we know a lot of the stuff that they like to do and their players like to do. And I think when that happens, you kind of the games maybe get a little lower scoring. They maybe get a little less pretty on offense because the defenses are taking away what both teams do really well. And they tend to just be battles and go down to the wire. And, we were fortunate enough to beat Wayne twice last year. Both games were, right down to the wire, and we were very fortunate to win both of them. So I'm sure that'll give them a little extra motivation. I think they lost a few guys, but have a good core group back. And I think anytime you go from a first-year coach to a second-year coach, you tend to be a little bit. They're a little bit more polished. They're a little bit more together. They look like they're doing the things that Coach Smothers wants them to be doing this year, and I think that's part of the reason they've gotten off to a good start.
And then, Coach, after that, Saginaw Valley State, same story.
Yeah, I think I played them 3 times last year because we also got them in the first round of the conference tournament, and again, I think a lot of familiar faces. They have most of their core group is back. They added, I think, possibly the best newcomer in the league, or one of the 2 or 3 best newcomers in the league. So they are very, very talented. If they're not the most talented team in the league, they are right up there. And I think with that, you got to do a good job of understanding that within what they do, individuals for them are able to break stuff off and make these special individual plays. And it's hard because you gotta now guard 3 or 4 of their guys, all of which can go off for 30 points, all of which who have gone off for 30 points at the Division II level. And so you just got to kind of stick with it, keep trying to guard them one-on-one. I think offensively, we want to play fast in both games this weekend and try to get some easy ones in transition. I think it's going to be important for us to shoot well, especially against Saginaw. They do such a good job of protecting the rim. You have to make some threes to loosen them up a little bit.
And then, Coach, when we look at the schedule, these 2 conference ones and then a break from conference, so is it nice to kind of get a taste of conference and some conference opponents and then have a break before you really get into the thick of it every week?
Yeah, I think so. It always feels a little odd because when you get back into conference play the second semester, you kind of have that, whatever that record was the first semester, it almost feels like it's kind of hanging over your head. Last year we were 3-1 before break, and so that was okay. And one of the years I think we were 0-2, and it felt like we were constantly fighting an uphill battle. I think these 2 games are vital if you're going to try to compete for any sort of championships or at-large bids or whatever else, because they kind of set the tone for the rest of the year, especially playing them at home. I actually think you have a little bit more pressure on you that first weekend when it's at home. So huge games at the end of the year. It's been decided by 1 or 2 games, the conference championship every year I've been in the league, and we've been in the mix the last 2 years. And you look back on those early season games, and usually those are the ones you're either happy you got or kind of regret a little bit. So you can't focus on that part of it, but you also need to know that these are why we scheduled so hard in the non-conference. And we're finally healthy. We've had our most normal week of practice we've had all season. We've had everybody available every day, and we feel like we're finally kind of coming together and doing what we thought we were capable of in practice. So I'm excited to see how that translates into big games.
And then, Coach, last one, kind of leading up to this week, is it, film sessions? Is it working on defensive tendencies, offense? What's kind of practice look like?
Yeah, and I think, building on what I just said, having everyone there has been a major difference for us. We haven't had that. We really haven't what I would call actually practiced in a long time. And then with last week playing Thursday and then not having a Saturday game, we got a lot of practice in at the end of last week, and we got all, this early week we've been able to really focus on both Saginaw and Wayne. We actually started with Saginaw, who we play on Saturday, got them out of the way first, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday have been, all Wayne State. And I think with that, sometimes when you have these weird scheduling things, you're able to prepare more and have a better plan ready. So offensively, defensively, we've looked at what they both do, have tried to come up with what we think is stuff we can get on these teams on offense, and then what we need to take away on defense. And so I feel like we're really prepared and ready. And again, I wish I could say I felt that way all year. I haven't, but I do for this week. Saying that, once the ball gets thrown up, you can have a good plan on both sides, and you got to defend them one-on-one. You got to make shots. You got to hope they miss some shots. You got to rebound. You got to not turn it over. The basic things still are the most important, but it's definitely feels like an advantage that we've been able to properly prepare for, like I said, probably the first time all season.